In fact, with me in the school, I had some Indonesian who they are rich, very rich. They send them, to Western country to study. That's why they speak English. When they are living in the West, like I remember once, there was an Indonesian girl, and her father was a minister. I forgot of what, who care for me, and So anyway, uh, the university took us in a boat, boat. So one of the guys, the student, he said, I have tattoo. The Indonesian girl, the Muslim girl, she said, I have tattoo too. He said, where? She pulled down her pants, showing us her ass, and she have a tattoo. So the daughter of this minister, she will go to Indonesia wearing hijab, but in the West, she show us her butt. Literally, she took off her pant. She turned her butt to us. We were sitting. She was standing, and she turned her back and she pulled down her pants, showing us the tattoo where over her butt. So in the appearance, they claim to be very religious. In the practice, they are the most lousy. They will take their pant in 2 seconds. All right. Now let us continue and see what this guy is trying to say. He's against injustice. He's against hatred. Well, his book is the Quran. It says, chapter 5, verse 51, I will spread hatred and enmity between the Christians and the day of judgment. In the same chapter is saying the same against the Jews. So if you are against hatred, you liar, then you should ban the Quran, because your Quran is a source of hate. So how you can fight hate when you teach your kids hate? How you can fight hate when your prophet is a prophet of hatred? He is satanic. Go, go. Those speeches mean nothing to me, but they can, people who do not know much about what's going on, you can, fool them.
That will overcome this injustice. To close, I would like to reiterate again Indonesia's complete support for the two-state solution in Palestine.
There is people, a group of Indonesian, they are employee in the United Nations. Whatever this guy he says, he clap. Nice try. All those who they acknowledge so-called Palestine, this is not the first time they acknowledge it anyway. I mean, this is something they do every few years. And Palestine never came to existence because it was never exist. We acknowledge, the full state of Palestine, and then the same people who speak about that, and this is why they are speaking. Actually, let me play it to the end, and then I will finish.
We must have an independent Palestine, but we must also recognize, we must also respect, and we must also guarantee the safety and security of Israel. Only then we can have real peace. Real peace.
See, now nobody clap. The Muslims, nobody clap. But let me tell you something. All this speech is nothing but shitty speech. Those Indonesian government, they are in deep relationship with Israel a long time ago. You see, in the appearance, they claim, like now, some people suppose, like surprised that he said that. But if you go and do little search in the internet, you will see that Indonesia depend big time on technology of Israel. And they even provided with many kind of a spying software, spying technology to the government of Indonesia, technology for missiles, airplanes. So in the appearance, they say we support Palestinian, but they are one of the biggest buyers for Israeli technology. Many of those countries who speak against Israel in TV, they are in deep ties with Israel, starting from Saudi Arabia, Emirat, Bahrain, even the filthy Qatar. They kiss the ass of the Israeli. So they go on TV, they make a very harsh speech, but behind the curtain, they call the Israeli Habibi. Can we have a please, Habibi, this technology, Habibi? Can you provide us with those chips, Habibi? We need them, Habibi. All right? So they are not doing favor to Israel. They are not acknowledging anything. They are practicing official relationship with Israel from long time ago. You know, when the Saudi Arabia, they allowed the Israeli to fly over their space. Did you ask yourself why? How Saudi Arabia is a country is disgusted by Israel, and then they allow them to fly over Saudi Arabia. How Jordan is disgusted by by Israel, and they allow them to fly over Jordan. How Iraq is disgusted, how everybody is disgusted, buddy. But then they allow them to fly like, you know, like bees in the wind. Zzz, the Israelis all over the place. Emirat is so disgusted with the Israeli war in Gaza, but Israeli tourist is a flooding Emirat. How that work? You see, what those people say in the stage have nothing to do with what happened behind the curtain. Let me describe for you how the Muslim world looked for me as a person who came to the Middle East. Have you ever seen a movie where there is a secretary and there's a boss? And then the secretary, she is wearing, you know, dressed like a lady. And then she go next to the boss to sign a paper. And then the boss, excuse my language, by the way, it's going to be a little bit sexual, but because this is how I see it. So the lady, she is wearing hijab. She is wearing long skirt. She is supposedly very religious. And the boss is sitting behind the table, is doing what the boss do. She bring the papers and then he push his hand between her legs. I'm not going to continue to say what happened next, you know. This is how I see the Muslim world. It's like a whore, secretary whore. She go to the boss, the Israeli. In the appearance, the secretary is very well respected. In reality, the boss his hand between her legs. And this is how the Israeli treat the Muslims and the Arab. They treat them as a bunch of whore because they know them, they are whores. They have no dignity. Like even the president of Syria, who is Al-Qaeda, you believe it or not, he kissed the ass of Israel. If you remember, Trump, he mentioned that we're going to deport all those who are in Gaza to Indonesia. Indonesia is the country who accept. They did not say no. We should establish two states to Palestine, but then at the same time send them here, okay? Send them here, all right? Here will they will be disappeared. We have big population, and those Gaza, you know, like 2 million, they count nothing in our population. So in the appearance they say something, in reality they say something else. We should acknowledge Israel. Who cares if you acknowledge Israel or not? Israel is there. You acknowledge it or not, who cares, you know? Is there, is going to stay, and here you see how the world changed from nobody want to accept Israel. Like Israel have no place there, you know. To we should respect Israel. We should guarantee the security. You guarantee security. You cannot guarantee your security. In fact, the major reason for Indonesia to speak as this is their fear of China. There's a big dispute between the Indonesian and the Chinese in the sea. And you know, the Indonesian, they are doing invasion in the sea. As an example, in Australia, every almost a few weeks or every week, there's a boat, you know, Indonesian boat, fishing boat, etc. boat, captured and burned by the Australian. And the same as for the Chinese. So there is a big competition for food in the sea, territory. And the coming war of Indonesia will be with China. Even though in the appearance of the speech, he mentioned China. But in reality, China is their dragon. They are too much afraid. Indonesia want to swallow Singapore, but China want to swallow Indonesia. And the big fish eat the small fish. So Indonesia might be big for a country like Singapore, but it's so small to a country like China. And they are terrified, and the only one can help them is Israel.